Good morning, pregame crew. Happy December 1st. We're in the last month of the year. This is going to be an amazing month. Wonderful end to 2021, and then we're going to kill it in 2022. You have found yourself at the pregame show. It is 8:23 a.m. Eastern, 6:24 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community. We teach technical analysis. This is the pregame show. We do this 5 days a week. We do this for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then our chart guy or gal will go live at 7 a.m. Mountain. I have to do all this math. Yes, 9 a.m. Eastern. They go live. We go live 3 times every day. We have a community with tons of channels. I'm not showing you all of them, but we post setups, we post news, we hang out, we trade together, we have fun. It has been one heck of an evening. We've had a great bounce overnight. It is the EV show, the semi show, and I am slightly bearish crypto in the short term. So I'll go over all of that. We will go through the indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day. I'll get you ready for the day. What we do is I wake up, I find all the puzzle pieces on the ground, I pick one up at a time, I start putting the puzzle together, and I go over with you setups that I like or what I think the layout of the market will be. So yesterday we had one of those 2 aces setups, meaning if you're sitting at the poker table and you're dealt 2 aces, before you even see, what do you call that, the flop or whatever, you know that you have a good hand. Yesterday, so with all setups, regardless of the probabilities, they all can go bust. You have to know that. That's why risk management is so important. But yesterday we talked about RTY being oversold on the daily, looking for a weekly higher low, and that is an AA setup. That's 2 aces being given to you. That's a high probability setup. If any of you can find me a chart just like this today, I promise you I'll trade it. As long as the liquidity is good, I'll trade it. Find me a chart like this. And what I mean is, this was the setup. Daily oversold, looking for weekly higher low. That's an A++ setup, or like being given 2 aces in poker. And they're tough to find because typically if you're daily oversold looking for a weekly higher low, that chart structure is somewhat breaking. So find me a chart like this and I'll keep digging for charts like this for you. And then we will have some happy trading and higher probability setups. So I hope you took this trade. I posted about it yesterday in the TCG chat room. We talked about it here yesterday morning. So I hope you got a piece of that. Good morning, Diego, Upgrade, Tamazon, Dino, MG, Patrick, Chuck, thank you, Mal. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or Night Truck may beat y'all up. Thank you, Night Truck. Hey, Jorge, Lisa, Mal, Steven, Lap to Win, Judd, Blue Dog, Wabinka, Chris. You know, I cursed a little bit when I started doing Bring Your Own Charts in TCG a few years ago, and I would only curse when Dan was listening and I got in trouble. And I'm not even a big cursor, so we try not to do that at TCG. We like to make this a family appropriate show. Scott, I am with you. I am still in tryptophan hangover from the turkey. Hey, Steven, Veronica, Roger. I appreciate all of you being here. You stopped out of IWM. That's okay. You stuck to your trading plan. That's way more important than getting a win, I can promise you, is sticking to your trading plan. Baba. Oh, you're going to make me look at Baba. Let's look at it. Baba oversold on the weekly, daily. We've lost this 12977 support. This is not good, folks. This is not a black dirt breakdown, but it's might as well be. Let's see your next support. Is there a gap over here? There sure is. There is a gap. Sorry about all that scrolling. There is a gap at 125.91. Not all gaps have to be filled, but that's a really big gap. And just so you know, there's another gap down here. So 125.91 may be a good area to buy a dip on BABA if the market's behaving. But this chart, why force it? You have made an absolute killing if you shorted every pop on BABA since October 20th. Actually, way before that. Let's look at it on the monthly. Since October of last year, every pop was a short. So until we can change that sentence, Baba's in trouble. Chris, I know what you meant. Hey, Topher and Bobo resign. Brendan, good morning, good morning. Here's my chart setup if you're interested in it. I use the yellow as the 50 MA, green and red 8 and 21 EMA. Yellow candles are JC inside bars. I use the Squeeze Pro indicator and CM Ultimate RSI multi-time frame. These yellow bars are inside bars, meaning they're staying within the range of the prior candle and they're nested within that range. And we love these tightening patterns because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when they break, like when this broke, this double inside bar broke to the downside, you got some great follow through. So that's why I like to pay attention to inside bars. My eyes are slightly over 40 years old. So I like to color them yellow so they jump out at me. So I'm going to take this off the screen now and let's get started. If this is your first time at the pregame show, where have you been, first of all? Second of all, welcome. Requirement, not just kidding, but please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button. Thanks to all of our mods who are our senior TCG members that volunteer to help out over here in the room. I appreciate all of you. And what I do is I rip through about 25 charts in about 25 minutes. And I can't really monitor the chat. At the end, I'll go over a couple requests if I have time. So what we're looking at is a nice bounce. How big was this bounce? So we are above 70% retrace on this bounce overnight. Hit the wrong button. And this bounce overnight with ES. Wonderful bounce. What I would love to see is inverse head and shoulders for everybody. You know, Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I want you get an inverse head and shoulders, you get an inverse head and shoulders. That's what I'm looking for. So a 4-hour lower high is the most likely scenario. Now, if Powell says something to fix his comment from yesterday, and I jokingly say fix, but he is so pro-market that it is unusual for him to say something so bearish as he talked about transitory yesterday and what it meant and what it didn't mean. That's kind of surprising because, again, he's been about propping the market up for a while. That's not a political comment. That's just, I think, a fact. So unless he says something very bullish this morning at 10 a.m., this is a risk-off day. It's a caution day. With Powell speaking, we need to get that out the way. I would get that out of the way before I put on any large trades. So I'm looking for a lower high in this area compared to 464425. And then would love an inverse head and shoulders. Nasdaq, it is much healthier than the other sectors. So we have not broken that fear low on Nasdaq. So Apple continues to single-handedly hold this market up. If you've been on the pregame show for more than one day, you know I talk about the importance of Apple all the time. Apple held us up yesterday, and it is raging in pre-market. So IWM is definitely the tide that's lifting all boats this morning. You know, it's basically a risk-on environment. If people are buying IWM in general, they want to have risk on. And if they're not buying IWM, that's a risk-off environment. So it gives people more confidence in the market. There's been a few headlines this morning. Let me see if I can find those headlines. About the variant not being here. The WHO official says the World Health Organization official says some of the early indications, most Omicron, or however you say it, cases, I've heard the N is silent, they're mild and no severe cases. So as long as we continue to get these headlines kind of just demystifying this variant and bringing down the severity and the fear, Then if we get that headline that Dan has been warning us about, that headline that says it's now present in the United States, then that should soften that initial blow, if you will. Hope that makes sense. So NQ, of course, is stronger than all the others. RTY, you can really see this inverse head and shoulders look a lot better on RTY than you can on ES, for example, because ES went a little deep on this side. So RTY, of course, it gave up a ton yesterday, and this was my A++ setup, daily oversold in a weekly higher low scenario. Give me those trades all the time. Okay, back to the 4 hour. So this is really looking ahead. It doesn't mean this will happen. Because again, if Jay Powell says something that's market moving to the upside, it could totally just rip to higher highs. Or it could also drop to lower lows. So I would look for price to pause in this area, pull back, give us that right shoulder and make that pullback kind of shallow. Don't make it too deep. At least make it symmetrical or higher. That would be around 2206 for that left shoulder matchup on that right shoulder. And of course, I'm projecting y'all. And what I do for y'all and for myself every day is I use the left side of the chart to map out the more likely scenario on the right side of the chart. So on the hourly, we have an uptrend on IWM. This was my best trade this week, this month for November, was this IWM dip buy. So we have resistance at 2258, 2269. We have support at 2217. Dow. Now Dow would like to get in on this potential inverse head and shoulders, but it has more work to do. We need the right side to be as close to 35246 as possible for it to be a potential valid inverse head and shoulders. And y'all know I much prefer an inverse head and shoulders than I do a head and shoulders. And let me kind of go back and show y'all what I mean on Nasdaq. Let's kind of zoom out and get the big picture here on Nasdaq. We still have the potential for a weekly bull flag on Nasdaq. I know that's cray-cray considering how bearish everything has been, supposedly. And this is what I hear a lot of people talking about. We could have a head and shoulders. This is my least favorite pattern out there. I can't stand it. Doesn't mean they don't work often. But when you have a potential head and shoulders on a lower time frame, always zoom out to the higher time frame and see if there's a bull flag anywhere. And in this case, it is the Nasdaq. It is potentially a weekly bull flag on Nasdaq. So if you hear a lot of head and shoulders comments on QQQ or Nasdaq, zoom out and let's keep that weekly picture in focus. Something else I wanted to say. Oh, Dan is looking at this on the 4 hour, this potential falling wedge. He's keeping it in focus, something to be aware of. So we have a couple patterns brewing on these indices, and most of the patterns are pointing up except for the QQQ daily pattern, but all the rest of them are bullish formations. Mal, I'm so sorry to hear that you got COVID. So sorry. That's terrible. Well, I love y'all so much. Okay, so what's holding us up this morning is RTY. So the question is this a dead cat bounce with daily oversold bouncing, or is this not only bears covering, is it bulls buying? Let me type that out for y'all. I've gotten feedback this helps. If it stops helping, let me know and I'll stop doing it. Bounces. Are they dead cats or bulls buying? A dead cat is primarily bears covering. A true bounce, bears covering, and interested bulls stepping in and declaring price is on. I know I misspelled that. Price is on sell. So that is our, gosh, that's a lot of all caps. I hate doing that. Sorry about that. But that question will be answered today on most indices, if this is dead cat or these are true bulls interested in buying. And the more news that comes out that says this variant is not as scary as it was made out to be initially, then that could calm down the fears of the market and we can resume our normal dip buying. Again, Powell is the fly in the ointment. It can change all of that today. So there are your levels. And if you want levels, they were on all the charts. They're all marked up. I must have deleted the Nasdaq one. Yeah, I did when I did the faux head and shoulders. So let me give you those levels. So even though RTY is bouncing the most, Nasdaq still has the strongest structure to the chart. And then RTY has the best dead cat bounce going. But strongest charts on midterm time frames are Nasdaq, then ES, then Dow, then RTY. Okay, Bitcoin. So I get to say something unpopular again. It's my nature. It's kind of what I do. So a diamond bearish reversal pattern, you can look on investopedia.com. It's a legit pattern. And what it is a failed, and excuse my accent, I try to say things clearly, but sometimes I don't do it as well. Let me show you with the path. It is a failed broadening formation. So you get the higher high, lower low. And in this case, we did get a higher high. So you could call this, and of course, you could call this a broadening formation where we got the lower low. We got 3 higher highs and we only got 2 lower lows. And then we just started dribbling off over here. So the Bitcoin bulls are trying to take this pattern off the table on the hourly. We're getting an hourly trend change. Your next resistance is 58409. All of our patterns, if we call something a pattern, a bull flag, a bear flag, a head and shoulders, a cup and handle, a tweezer bottom, all of these patterns, if they're a pattern that's been defined, typically they have a greater than 50% chance of resolving to the upside or downside, whichever pattern you're looking at. If it's a cup and handle, that's a bullish pattern. It has a higher than 50% probability of resolving to the upside. If you have a head and shoulders, it has a greater than 50% probability of resolving to the downside. So just because this is a pattern does not mean that Bitcoin's going to roll on over. But the reason I thought it was more legit is when I started looking at the blockchain names, I saw that we had diamond bearish reversal patterns on Mara and Riot, and they're trying to negate it right here, right now. And that's fine with me. I just feel like we had that big, not feel, that I can't trade feelings, this big pop on Riot and then gave it all back. That was such a warning sign. So for me, again, this is a failed broadening formation, and then it just kind of dribbles on out. So bears will be waiting right here, and I will be a bear waiting. If Riot were to get near $40, I will be waiting for it. All right. Thank you, MG. I appreciate that. You got that from the pattern site. If you did, could you put that on that link in the chat room? Bulkowski studied patterns, and he came up with the probabilities of which way they resolve. So if you're interested in that, it's Bulkowski's pattern site, I believe. All right, so let's make sure. Next resistance 58409, support 57071. I am not, and I don't mean to be a jaded woman, but it is what it is, but I am not convinced with this bull break action on Bitcoin yet. I will be looking bearish Mara and Riot. Ethereum 4-hour bull flag potential on the table. Support 4656, 4605, resistance 4784, 4800 psychological, 4809, then 4867, 81 the all-time high. So let's zoom out here on the weekly. So we got a 4-hour potential bull flag on Ethereum, and we got a potential weekly bull flag on Ethereum. If you give me this chart and we're within 10% of an all-time high with a weekly bull flag, I will take that trade bullishly every time. This is an AA. You just handed me 2 aces on Ethereum. Proximity to all-time high is a major edge that I use. I love the edge. Proximity to all-time high, it starts acting like a magnet and it will just suck. There you go. I made a sound effect. Woo, yay me. I'm terrible at sound effects, but it just brings price like a magnet. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, And so I like Ethereum for all-time high. These bulls are positioned very well. If Ethereum were to go get that all-time high, I guess we'd have to look at the ETH BTC chart to see, could Bitcoin ride the coattails of Ethereum, and would that tide lift all boats, including the mother hen, Bitcoin, possibly? Lord have mercy. I am so windy today. Talkative. So gold, what Dan is looking at with SPX and gold is a potential falling wedge on gold as well. And I like gold long here because of this potential 4 to 6 hour falling, head and shoulders that we see on Dixie. So we do not have a daily potential bull flag on Dixie. That's why I believe this head and shoulders more. Let me say that again. This is a more believable head and shoulders for me because I don't see a bull flag on the daily. Now, it could be on the weekly. There's definitely potentially on the weekly. So if this were to get a fake bear break and resume higher and confirm that weekly bull flag, gold bullish would be a dumb idea. How about that for facts? Oil, we have inventory this morning, and most importantly, we have an OPEC meeting that's happening right now. So watch your XLE trades, your XOP trades. If you're trading Exxon, natural gas, you need to know this. It can have, even though nat gas and CL are somewhat mutually exclusive with price action, just watch it. They had some inverse correlation last week, and this inventory and OPEC makes this a risk off day for oil. Meaning I would not put risk on, put my hard earned money at work with oil. Resistance 69.49, support 67.73. Nat gas, potential 4 hour. Well, actually it's probably better on the 2 hour. There you go. Potential 2 hour bear flag. Cannot get anything going. We are looking for a monthly high or low, but I was studying this chart this morning. Look at this bounce, okay? It doubled its price and then gave it all back and went to a lower low. So don't think that nat gas cannot go to a lower low. It absolutely can. Odds favor a monthly high or low, but look at this, what it did here. So don't get too, I'm talking to myself, don't get too snookered in looking for that monthly high or low, waiting for that 4 hour to get nice and beat up, because we're just now approaching oversold, because nat gas is called naughty gas, widowmaker, for a reason. So just be careful with nat gas. There's nothing redeeming about this chart yet, VIX. So these are my notes from yesterday. I didn't change them because I really, really liked it. So we were looking for a lower high. I said there was a 50% chance it would stop here, 67% chance it would stop here. So we got that lower high, and that marked the temporary bottom of the market, and we got our turnaround. So here, I'm gonna clean all that off now. So now we got a daily EQ shaping up. So on any bounce, so if the market were to pull back, so what I would see is we have RTY, most importantly, potential 4 hour IHS. In order for that right shoulder to form, VIX could bounce, get that 4 hour lower high, then that could mark a market again. Does that make sense? So what I would want to see is bounce, come back, and then roll over, and then that could be the confirmation of the inverse head and shoulders for RTY. Does that make sense? And then if dollar could go ahead and just break on bear for us, why don't you? That would help the market. Apple, this is actually Dan's words I copied because when he says it so well, why would I go type it myself? Apple back burner trades on watch, 5-minute hourly oversold when they next occur. So you see that I have an alert set here for 166. I want to know when we come back to that prior all-time high, and that could mark the bottom of a 4 hour bull flag. So do I have my alert set on 5-minute? I thought I did. We may get oversold right here in pre-market, and that's not what we want. So a back burner trade just means we're waiting for that first 5-minute oversold or hourly oversold after a large move, primarily coming off all-time high. So we don't want this 5-minute oversold to happen in pre-market. That would not be optimum. Again, I am a more than willing buyer in the 166 area, and that was the prior all-time high from last week. LCID. Okay, LCID, I had this bearish reversal pattern thing looking me in the eye. Y'all see that? It has me slightly worried. The bull volume this morning has me a little bit more bullish LCID, and I love that we held that 50 RSI. We got a squeeze going on the 4-hour, 2-hour, 1 hour. So this could be just like Riot. Let me go back to that 2-hour again. I want you to see it. So this pattern could exist, but I am waiting. 4-hour tightening pattern squeeze. The EV space is hot, hot, hot. And as long as it's hot, 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 I'm only going to play it bullishly. But let's be careful when we approach yesterday's high. Let's see that we can get through that if you're playing it to the long side. So I like LCID. I like it bullishly here, and I like it for a bearish trade here. Thank you, MG. I appreciate that. LI killed earnings, killed them. So that was back here. I think, was that Monday morning? Yes, Monday morning, killed them. And now we're confirming bull flag. So we got a bull flag, a bullish engulfing. Let me get rid of all that. Look at that pretty chart. Pretty candle, outside candle, bullish engulfing. This is really pretty chart. Support 3704, 3694, resistance 3756, 3765. I'm not saying buy the gap up. I'm saying you could wait for a high of low bar break, and I haven't drawn that in a while, so let's do that. So it's similar to the stair step pattern that Dan has a video covering. It's similar, but I don't require so many candles in sequential order. So let's say we have 2 or 5 minute, I use both, candles pulling back on a very bullish chart. Then what I do is I enter on a break of the high of this low bar, then I put my stop under the low. So if LI bounces, go long, comes back. If it breaks the low of day, it's off the table, stop hit. So I like LI bullishly. MA, I'm hesitant on this name because I got lulled into Hertz on their big buyback. And it did nothing. It was a big nothing burger. So let's see if MasterCard can do a little better. The board approved an $8 billion share buyback. That's 2.6% of the market cap. That's huge. And they raised the quarterly dividend. 2 pieces of bullish news. And we're only up 2%. And this name is beat up. 4-hour got oversold back here. And it has a little bit of a falling wedge look. 319.72, 316.15 support, resistance 322, then 324.64. This was really good news. Let's see if the bulls can make something of this. Mara, I like bearishly. Here's what I would do. I like it bearishly here, and I like it bullish here. If you're going to stay in the middle, that's an inside day, and I'm hands off. So I hope that makes sense. I would be looking to short 54.93, go long 49.09. In between is purgatory, and I don't play that. NVIDIA, semis keep rewarding dip buying. It's a trend until it isn't. Resistance 335.15, 336, and y'all know what I'm going to say. Proximity to all-time high. Proximity to all-time high. You see that? Becomes a magnet. Just like Ethereum is actually prettier. But this ain't bad. Ethereum is prettier because it has a 4-hour. Let me go show y'all. 4-hour bull flag. You see that? It's prettier. But this could be no man's land. Excuse me. So NVIDIA, proximity to all-time high. I like it a dip buy in the 330 area. Riot. Same thing. I would be looking to short 40.08 and go long 35.51. I don't have as many names as I normally have, and I dug y'all, but I wasn't going to force it. We got names like, I was looking in the travel industry. I don't want to go long travel, but I don't want to shorten the hole. It already has a little bounce going. It has a magnet up here. I guess you could be looking to go long, but I don't like it. It's not a clear setup for me. Tesla. This has been a relative outperformer, and it is until it isn't. This sucker has a squeeze, and this thing looks beautiful. I have call debit spreads. I sold put credit spreads. I may even add a butterfly today. So what I would like to see is for it to come back a little bit, get the higher low on the hourly, and then go higher. I don't want it sitting here banging its head in 1168. So I may sell some of my call debit spreads at open and wait for a pullback to add back. ZS. Bullish earnings reaction. And we got proximity to all-time high. I'm a broken record today, ain't I? At least I'm consistent, right? So I like ZS bullishly. XBEV, high pre-market volume, potential hourly bull flag, unusual call activity yesterday. So I like this chart. 56.50 support. A pullback to 55.40 could be a buy area. And do y'all see a theme? LI, LCID, Tesla, XBEV, tons and tons. And I realized that I didn't alphabetize these correctly, but we've got 4 EV names on our pregame watch list. There's a theme here. And finally, Hood. Hood has a share unlocked day, which means we could get some major max capitulation in this black dirt breakdown. And then I would wait for at least a 5 or 15 minute trend change. And it could be a nice dip buy after max capitulation. But I put it at the bottom, not on the official list, because this is a high risk ninja trade only. Ninja trade only. Okay. Myrna is heavy. I carried puts on mRNA. So this is our chart from yesterday. It's actually drawn out exactly. So I said I would want to short any bounce. And I shorted this bounce around 355. I posted this trade setup actually in the short setups over in TCG chat room. So, and I posted my exit on the day trade, and I carried over a swing. So it's breaking this 33821 support. Your next support, 32661. Super heavy. NVAX wasn't as heavy, but it's still bearish. BNTX, BNTech, whatever you call that. It's weak. The only Pfizer was weak. The only one that wasn't was Merck, because they had positive news yesterday. But considering that positive news, it should be up more. I have LI, Daniel. That tells me you just joined us, because LI is one of my bullish names today. Okay. NIO actually looks good too. It has a lot of volume, pre-market volume. I get so sick of trading NIO. I try to trade it and then I end up giving it up again. So those are your levels on NIO. EV, as long as EV space is bullish, it could lift this one as well. Thank you, Skywave, for answering PBOG's question. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for joining me. TCGers, I will see y'all in the room. Pre-gamers, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and I will see the pre-gamers tomorrow. And TCGers, you'll get a lot of me in the room.